This video / audio is only meant for subscribers. Please hit that like and subscribe button and also hit that bell to get any notifications whenever I post a video and audio. Alright guys, welcome to Take Your Base episode 14. I'm your host Flav Oriana, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. Alright guys, so we got a lot to talk about. We got free agency beginning November 2nd. It started November 2nd. And we got a lot of stuff, that's been transpiring. So, Trevor Bauer, he's been making a lot of news. As for his YouTube video, ended up commenting, giving his opinion about Steve Cohen so elegantly. Very elegant, I would say YouTube video. He broke everything down from a business aspect on what Steve Cohen did on his his press conference, his initial press conference of him becoming the new New York Mets owner. Him and Sandy Alderson, by the way, did a phenomenal job. I mean, grand slam, grand salami, hit it out of the ballpark. No way of finding that ball whatsoever. They crushed that press conference. As for Trevor Bauer, made a huge video. I think it was this week, maybe a couple days ago. Yeah, made a huge video about Steve Cohen, broke everything down, and he liked it. I mean, when I heard it, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this kind of screams that he wants to come to the Mets. Now, look, I don't know if he is, I don't know if he's not, but Trevor Bauer's agent, Rachel Lupa, if I'm not mistaken, her name is. I think that her name is Rachel Lupa. I could be wrong. Rachel Luba, not Lupa. Rachel Luba had an interview with Michelle Margot from SNY. Phenomenal interview. Rachel Luba ended up, talking about how she is discussing. Rachel Luba ended up discussing with Michelle Margot about who are the teams that are interested in that Trevor Bauer might sign with. And she announced that it's the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Phillies. Which, look, I don't see the Phillies, snagging Trevor Bauer away from the Cincinnati Reds, and also Cincinnati too. I don't see the Phillies doing that. I mean, they already spent a lot of money on Zach Wheeler last offseason, which was a good acquisition in my opinion. I mean, look, you have Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler. That's a very good 1-2 combination. Is it the best? No, it's really not the best. I mean, the Dodgers have a good pitching rotation. Jacob deGrom and Noah Syndergaard is a good 1-2. I mean, you could have talked about maybe Masahiro Tanaka and Garrett Cole. That's if Tanaka re-signs with the Yankees. I don't know if he is. I don't know if he's not. But you also have Mike Clevenger and Paddock from San Diego. That's a good one too. But anyways, getting back to the discussion. So Rachel Luba discussed, that the Giants are making serious, talks as for trying to acquire Trevor Bauer. And it makes me wonder, I was like, will the Giants throw a ridiculous amount of money at Trevor Bauer? Just because, like, if he goes to San Francisco, I get it, they made the playoffs this year. No Buster Posey, although I do feel like Buster Posey is on the decline this stage in his career. Yes, Mike Yastrzemski looks great, but I don't see the Giants in a 162-game season making the playoffs. I mean, Trevor Bauer, pitched his best year. I know it's a 60-game season, but he pitched his best year for the Cincinnati Reds. Won his first Cy Young Award. And I believe at this point, you put Trevor Bauer in a contending team like the Dodgers, like the Yankees, like the Mets, he's gonna open up, like, huge eyes. I mean, this guy's big on YouTube. I think this guy has like over 110,000 YouTube subscribers. This guy is a character. I mean, look, a lot of people gained a lot of attention on Trevor Bauer ever since he made that when he was pitching for the Indians. I believe that was his last start with the Cleveland Indians. He was pitching in Kauffman Stadium against the Royals. And Terry Francona was going for a pitching change, was going to switch Trevor Bauer out. I forgot for who exactly. So Trevor Bauer was like, to hell with this. Throws the baseball over the center field wall. Mind you, he was on the pitcher's mound. He chucks it, throws it as far as he can over the center field wall, and mouths off. That is the last image you have of Trevor Bauer in a Cleveland Indians uniform. So that is to show you what kind of character he is. I mean, he is high energy. This guy is very verbal. You sometimes see him doing the Conor McGregor walk. I mean, some people say it's the Vince McMahon walk, but Conor McGregor seems to be the more famous person at this point. And I don't know. I just don't see him going to the Giants. Everything screams that he's going to come to the Mets. I mean, the Mets are one of the few teams this offseason that's going to be getting free agents, that's going to be spending money. I mean, what's it called? I'm about to say Gary Cohen. Steve Cohen had said that it's not about the money, it's about the acquisition. And he's not owning the Mets to make money. He is owning the Mets because it is his toy, it is his joy. He wants to make millions of Met fans happy by winning a World Series, winning a world title. And I truly believe that. I mean, his day job is what, for him is his moneymaker. Him working at being the hedge fund, I think, owner at .72. But I see Trevor Bauer going to the Mets. I possibly see maybe like a 5-year deal. He's probably going to get something around the ballpark of $30 million. So yeah, I'm very intrigued on seeing Trevor Bauer, on his decision. The fact that his agent was having a interview with Michelle Margot from SNY. If many people don't know, SNY is the network that airs New York Mets games. So that to me was kind of a big sign right there. I don't know. I'm speculating. It seems like it's going to come down to the Giants, Dodgers, and Mets at this point. Don't see the Phillies. Don't see the Yankees. I think the Yankees' main priority at this point is trying to secure, DJ LeMahieu on re-signing back with the team instead of losing him. He already declined the offer, the qualifying offer that would have paid him $18.9 million. He knows his value. He knows his worth. He knows he's going to get paid way more than that. So it's kind of obvious that he ended up declining that qualifying offer. Speaking of pitchers, I mean, we had one of the better young pitchers in the game right now, Mike Clevinger. It's unfortunate. Got announced that he's going to have Tommy John surgery. So you guys know what that means. This guy is going to be missing, unfortunately, the entire 2021 season. Look, I mean, that 1-2 combo with him and Paddock, I mean, it was great. I mean, the Padres, took big strides on getting closer and closer to possibly contending for a title. I mean, they were a year too early, in my opinion. Fernando Tatis Jr. looked fantastic. Manny Machado looked great. But, I mean, you also had Tommy Pham on that team. But losing Mike Clevinger is a big blow. That's your number 2 right there. And I wonder what the San Diego Padres organization is going to do as for trying to replace that arm for at least this year alone. Are they going to spend money? Are they going to try to go after a Masahiro Tanaka? Are they going to just try to get any type of arm like a James Paxton? Who knows what they're going to end up doing? But losing an arm like that is huge. And Clevinger could possibly get you anywhere between 12 to 15 wins. I mean, that's big right there, especially in the NL West when you got the monsters of the NL West, which are the Dodgers. It's going to be very hard for San Diego to compete without a solid number 2. moving on to topic number 3. Look, getting back to the Yankees. The Yankees are right now, they're in a tough pickle. They got declined by DJ LeMahieu on the qualifying offer. So they're going to have to spend money on LeMahieu. Are they going to offer him a 5-year contract, a 4-year contract? I mean, he is 32. He is getting up there in age, but he's a pure hitter. I mean, the boy can hit. Could put him at DH, in the latter part of his career. He could still smack the ball. I could see him having a lengthy career. But just a matter of fact on what is it that the Yankees are going to end up doing. But getting outside of DJ LeMahieu, the Yankees have an issue. Excuse me. The Yankees have an issue because of the fact that Gary Sanchez, do they trade him? Do they release him? What did they do? Because this past year, I mean, he had a horrendous year. I mean, he pretty much struck out half the time he stepped up to the plate, which is not good at all. Now, most teams will be able to stomach that if he was able to produce about, 40 home runs a year? But he wasn't doing that. I mean, his batting average was, 100, 120, 150, if I'm not mistaken. He had a really abysmal year. One of the worst years for any player to have that's a starter. And it really showed. I mean, his regression was horrible. Horrible. Yeah, so look, his at-bats, I have it right here. He came to the plate 156 times. He only got 23 hits out of those 156 at-bats. Scored 19 runs, drove in 24 RBIs, had 18 walks, had an average of 147. Horrible. The year before, 2019, he was 4 at-bats short of 400 at-bats, scored 62 runs, had 92 hits, 77 RBIs, 40 walks. So he almost he had 40 at-bats. 2018, another bad year. He batted 186, had 323 at-bats, had 60 hits, 51 runs scored. He drove in 53 RBIs with 46 walks. Horrible year. Horrible. I mean, his decline started in that 2018 season. I mean, 2017, he... sorry, guys. So sorry. 2017, he batted 278. He had 40 walks, 90 RBIs. Had 131 hits out of 471 at-bats. So that was a little bit better. But, yeah, I mean, look. Gary Sanchez seems to be on the decline. Do they release him? Do they trade him? I don't know what team's going to want him. I think he ended up costing the Yankees, $5 million this year. If he goes into arbitration, right, that means that the Yankees are going to have to secure him for maybe one more year. If I'm the Yankees, look, I don't see the Yankees trying to get JT Realmuto. If they're gonna spend the money on DJ LeMahieu, I can't see them getting Realmuto. The best option is James McCann. Now, if you could secure James McCann, that'd be great, and then you can trade or release Gary Sanchez. But it really seems like Gary Sanchez is gonna be returning back to the Pinstripes. It looks like he's gonna be returning back to the Bronx. I don't see him getting released. I just see the Yankees holding on to him for another year. Especially with the fact that he's a homegrown talent. He came within the organization. And then plus, I mean, they probably want to give him, another year. Especially since we were in this pandemic. Only played 60 games. I get it. It was horrible. But give him one more year. And then cut ties with him if he replicates a year like this again. I mean, you can't have a guy that strikes out half the time he steps up to the plate. You're not producing anything whatsoever. You're not putting the ball in play. You're not creating any type of possibility of trying to reach base whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, Gary Sanchez is in a bad situation. If he was to be released, I definitely see a team picking him up just because of name value, and this guy has tremendous pop in his bat. It's just a matter of if this guy's going to make contact or not. But we'll see what happens. I mean, Yankees only got a few more days left until they can make a final decision on what to do with Gary Sanchez. And lastly, look, it seems so long ago, but 4 years ago, the Chicago Cubs ended up winning their first title in 108 years, which was amazing. And now going into 2021, 5 years later, the Cubs are looking like they're going to go into a rebuild mode. Now, the Cubs have a lot of talent. I mean, they got Jason Hayward, they got Javier Baez, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo. I don't know what the Cubs are going to do. It seems like they're going to package a lot of these guys away. I know that they're talking about trying to trade Chris Bryant for what trade package. I have no idea. It seems like it's going to be prospects. I'm hearing words that Theo Epstein might walk away from the Chicago Cubs at the end of the year, if not sooner. So it is pretty It is pretty remarkable to hear that a team that won literally just 4 years ago, they had everything with them. You know, John Lester, they had Kyle Schwarber, Anthony Rizzo, Javi Baez, Chris Bryant, everything. And now it looks like it's going to go down to like a solid rebuild mode. Now, I don't know. It doesn't look good for Chicago. It doesn't look good also for Theo Epstein wanting to leave. But if I have to say, I mean, this might be the best option for them. The farm system looks depleted. They need to restock up. They need to reassure themselves that they can get back into the postseason and be competitive again. Look, the worst thing you want to be in sports is right in the middle. And I think Cubs management, Cubs ownership understands that. So maybe having this hard rebuild is excellent, because if you're not contending, that means you're in the middle. Or you just flat out suck and then you're at the bottom. At least being at the bottom, make sure that you're able to secure a top draft pick, one of the best high school players or college players in all of baseball. If you're in the middle, you're not getting any of those type of players unless you have amazing scouting and you're able to get your hands on one of sometimes like these international players ahead of time. Outside of that, you're going to be stuck in the middle. You're going to be, borderline, like what the Mets were at one point. So this hard rebuild might be everything for them, might be everything for the Cubs, might be the best thing possible. You trade, in my opinion, I would trade Chris Bryant. I would trade Anthony Rizzo, Javi Baez. I know Javi Baez goes into free agency, I believe, at the end of this year. So not trade them all together. Trade them individually. Try to get as much of a big package as possible. I think you'll get a lot for Chris Bryant, considering that he was a Rookie of the Year at one point. Also considering that he was an NL MVP, a World Series champion. I believe he was a Gold Glove. No, he was. I don't think he was a Gold Glove. A Silver Slugger. Guy's phenomenal. Anthony Rizzo might not be able to get as much back compared to Chris Bryant or Javi Baez because he's a little bit older. Very good, dependable first baseman. You trade him to a team that needs a first baseman that's just one or two pieces away from getting into the playoffs, and you'll get a lot for him too. And then Javi Baez, one of the better shortstops in baseball, has one of the most beautiful bat flips after hitting a home run. My question is, where do you go with him? You definitely don't want to lose him for nothing. But Cubs are in a hard rebuild at this point. It's crazy to think that 4 years ago, 2016, they won it all. They broke the curse. Now, back where they started again. But, look, this also talks about Mets trying to acquire, Mets stepping away from the Francisco Lindor trade talks. Mets seemed like they were like the heavy favorites, but I think Cleveland was just simply asking for too much at this point. They were asking for, a Pete Alonso and Dominic Smith, either or, Ahmed Rosario, Andre Jimenez, Jeff McNeil, 2 out of the 3, if I'm not mistaken, from what I heard. I just seem like it's too much right there. Smart for the Mets not to trade, a lot of these assets away, just because, look, you can get, a bargain deal during free agency. Hearing that the Mets are straying away from that, they're looking to possibly picking up Marcell Ozuna. If they pick up Marcell Ozuna, I mean, that'd be great just because this guy had a great year. This guy, I believe he ended up leading the National League in hitting. But yeah, Marcell Ozuna, he hit 338. What's it called? And then 338 with 18 home runs in 60 games. Look, I mean, the guy can hit, and especially if the National League are going to be going, sticking with the DH, phenomenal. This guy would instantly replace Yoenis Cespedes. This guy's a big bat. This guy can hit it out of the ballpark when he needs to. And that was only in 60 games, 18 home runs. Imagine what this guy could do in 162 games. This guy might be able to hit you over 40. So, it looks like Sandy Alderson, Steve Cohen, they're going to try to get bargain basement deals from free agency, revamp that, rebuild up that Mets roster, try to build out the minor league, their minor league farm systems. And that was another thing. They didn't want to trade for Francisco Lindor because here's a quote from Sandy Alderson. We got no depth at AA and AAA. So we are doing all we can to sign a 6-year minor league free agent to fill out depth with our top 2 minor league teams provided up and down depth for the season. That's what Alderson has said. Look, I don't blame him. I don't blame him whatsoever. I mean, if they seem like they're trying to stick to their word. They want to revamp the minor league farm system. Understandable. You want to make sure you have a lot of homegrown talent. It seems like Steve Cohen doesn't want to trade away their top minor league prospects unless it's something that they feel like they have to do. And you want to build up as much talent. He wants to replicate what the Dodgers and the Tampa Bay Rays are doing. All right. More so the Dodgers than the Rays because the Rays are a small market team compared to the Dodgers and the Mets are a big market team. The fact that they're not willing to trade, all these assets for Francisco Lindor, smart idea because you know why? Crossing over to a different sport, the New York Knicks. Carmelo Anthony had announced that he wanted to get traded to New York. He was going into his final year of his deal. If the Knicks would have just held off and not, bite on that bait, I think they would have easily have contended, right, to make it for Eastern Conference Finals. But no, the Knicks ended up trading away a lot of their good pieces to end up revamping that bench, and it ended up hurting them. I mean, they traded away Danilo Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, Timothy Mozgov. I believe it was Raymond Felton too. You don't want to do that, and I think Steve Cohen is a smart enough businessman that you don't want to trade too much to acquire one superstar. If he's gonna end up becoming a free agent next year, the Mets can wait. The Mets could throw him the whole field. They can line up like wads of money all over the field for Francisco Lindor. I'm sure he'll take it. The Mets have the most money to offer Francisco Lindor compared to all the other owners. Smart move by the Mets. Smart move by the Mets on trying to, looking more closely into Marcell Ozuna. A great bat. The Mets could have easily picked him up last year. They didn't. The Braves did. And look what he did with the Braves. But overall, I'm very happy for what I'm hearing with Steve Cohen and the New York Mets. As for the Cubs, very sad, very disappointed seeing them having to, head back into rebuild mode to try to get their franchise back to where they wanted to be at. You had Mike Clevenger. Feel very sorry for him. Great pitcher. Hate to see any good pitchers, or any pitcher at all having to go through Tommy John. And lastly, Gary Sanchez. Look, Gary, you got to make sure you get the ball in play. I think he's trying to hit the home run ball every time he's at bat. And he seems to overextend on his swing, causing him to strike out too often. So maybe choke up a little bit, be able to get more contact. But until then, that concludes everything for Take Your Base. Please hit that like and subscribe button and share this with everybody that you know that's into baseball. Until then, I'll talk to you guys later. I'm Flavio Oriana, and I'm going to say peace, guys. I'll see you guys at a different date. See ya.